All right, guys, welcome back again to the channel. So we are seeing a lot of interesting moves right now in the transfer market concerning a number of our Nigerian players. Uh, particularly with Uche Chrisantus right now being, linked to the move to Wolverhampton Wanderers. The move is actually something very serious. The deal is very serious. Negotiation is still ongoing, and it's getting really heated up. And as a matter of fact, in the next coming hours, he might actually make that move from La Liga to play in the EPL. And the fee range is reported to be around 20 million euros that, Wolverhampton have now tabled to Getafe, for them to sign this man. And from all indication, Getafe owners are really happy with this fee and they are, very likely going to allow Uche to go. The only reason, based on recent reports, why they've not even sanctioned it is because they are waiting for AC Milan to see if they will be able to hijack this deal and probably pay more than 20 million euros, to sign Uche. Uh, that's what's happening. But on the player side, he's very keen on joining EPL. I think that's part of his dreams, playing in the EPL someday. So obviously, he's going to fancy a move to the Premiership to play with Wolverhampton Wanderers. And obviously, it's been a really magnificent last 2 3 years for this young man. We've seen him grow from grass to grace. Obviously, because back then in 2022, he was uh, back then 2022 he was nowhere to be found, in top flight football because then he was playing for a fifth tier side called Moralos CP in the Spanish division. He actually got into that club after he did a trial, from Nigeria. And then with Moralo, he did really well. And then by 2023, he moved to AD Kuwata, who were in the third uh, division of the Spanish league. He did very well and then spent one season there. And then Coeta sold him to Getafe, his current club right now, for around 500,000 euros. And right now, Getafe wants to sell him for around 20 million euros. That's a huge, huge profit on their end. So this is why there's nothing that can stop this deal. The club is really happy to sell him for that amount and make that much profit, considering they just bought him for 500,000 euros. But again, the coach of the Getafe side has come out now to cry to the owners of the club, and he has said that selling this man might be the biggest mistake you guys will make this season because this guy is very vital to my team. He's been very supportive. He's been one of the best performers of my team. In fact, the last game that we played against Sevilla, it was the man that scored one goal and then created assist for the two goals that we scored. Got us all 3 points. So why would you want to sell this man? So this is part of the argument of the Getafe coach, to the owners of the club. But I'm not sure if this is going to hold any water because obviously we know this footballing, this football club owners, they are much more interested in the business aspect, of course, than what the coach wants for the club. But just to relate it in the coach's own word, Jose Bordalas, who's the coach of the Getafe side, came out to say about Chrisantus moving to Wolverhampton Wanderers. He said, if Uche leaves, we have a very serious problem. Let's hope he doesn't leave. I'm against him leaving. He's a very important player, and this becomes more difficult every day. We can't start from scratch every season without knowing the squad we will have. If Uche leaves, we have a very serious problem. I understand the situation, but we can't be at the mercy of selling a player as important as Uche. So that is what the coach of this Getafe side has said. Uh, Again, from a fan perspective, I think it's going to be a good move for Uche to, go test himself in the EPL. He's 21 years old, and I think this is the right time for him to, you know, try himself in the best league in the world. And obviously, I believe he has the talent, he has the strength, the stamina, to fit into the physicality nature of the EPL. I also believe he has the room to develop. He's not a very strict player, in terms of like technique. Of course, his best attributes you can say physique, uh, stamina, and things like that. But again, I see him as someone who can learn to be a technical player because if you watch his game in the Getafe side, he has some good bromances with his attacking teammates. He knows how to play link up plays. He knows how to sacrifice himself for the ball, for his teammate to, continue the attack. He knows how to score goals, things like that. So he knows how to bully defender. That's like one of his top skills. So I see this man succeeding in the EPL, which is why I think he should go for it if the move materializes. But let's know what you think about this. Would you have him go to Serie A, for example? Maybe AC Milan comes through with the price, and Uche has to pick between AC Milan and Wolverhampton Wanderers. Which club would you have him join? For this coming season. But let's move on, guys. Let's talk about some other transfers that have happened. Of course, Kane Chukwuemeka, who's also a Super Eagles eligible player, has now successfully moved from Chelsea to join Borussia Dortmund on a 5-year deal. This one is now done and dusted. Finally, the 21-year-old is going to have his peace of mind playing for Borussia Dortmund. Of course, if previously he complained that Chelsea is not the right team for youngsters, someone who's looking to develop because he says that they don't treat players very well. And if you look at the history of Chelsea, especially in recent times, they've just ended up buying a whole lot of players without even having plans for these players. We're talking about Kane Chukwuemeka himself. We're talking about Leslie Ugochukwu. We're talking about even Tyreek George, who's also a Nigerian eligible player who has recently grown into the ranks, is now looking for a club, or the club are looking for a new club for him because they just can't accommodate him. They have so many players who are not even being used as at this point. So good move for him. 24 million euros is the amount that Chelsea actually sold him, which is actually a good price, for this man. And then there's also, some update concerning the estranged Emmanuel Dennis. So it seems like Emmanuel Dennis and Nottingham Forest are discussing about the possibility of terminating his contract right at this point because he's not part of the plan for this new season. He's not been consistent in the preseason training. He's not even been included in the team sheets to play games. In the EPL, they've played 2 games already, and he's nowhere to be found. Not in the bench, not in the starting 11, not even in the training ground. I've not cited him even for one. In the training ground, and so the story coming out from his camp right now is that he and his agent are discussing the possibility of Nottingham Forest looking for a club for him, or they might have to agree to terminate his contract to set him free so he can join a club of his choice. That's what's happening with Emmanuel Dennis. It's so sad to see that things are really turning the way they are for this man. He was such a very promising player, but I don't really know where everything went wrong for this man. But we hope he comes back strong and get a good club to play his football this season. And then to wrap up, guys, just wanted to give you an update that has now come out from one of the legends of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, in the person of Victor Ikpeba. He has come out to react to the Super Eagles' chances of qualification in the World Cup 2026. And again, we have two games, two qualifiers games next month, and based on that, Ikpeba has reacted, and from his statement, he has said that he still has belief in these boys, despite the fact that they made so many mistakes. Early on when we were playing the qualifiers games, when we were playing the first set of qualifiers games, but right now, um, he believes that the boys can actually get results from these 2 games that we have in September. But he also thinks that it's going to be difficult and that they need to work for it. They also need to, show and prove to the fans. They need to prove to the fans and get the trust of the fans again for them to start to love them again because he believes that the fans have been heartbroken by the team and they need to make up by performing this September. In his words, he said, "The boys have let the country down. They ought to take full responsibility for the poor run, but we can't dwell on the past. There's pride, determination, and honor to play for your country. I believe the boys are now ready and determined to do the job against Rwanda and South Africa. We can do it, but we have to fight for it. We have to earn it. This is what he said to Super Sports TV. But let's know your reaction to this. You think it's still possible? As I always say, I believe it's still possible. You never say it's over until it's eventually over. That's what it is for me. So let me know your reactions, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to the channel.